Good morning, and welcome to my channel this morning. This snowy, cold Tuesday morning. Now, I just want to talk a little bit on, I got to learn how to do reaction videos. Is that an app I got to get? Somebody let me know. I'm not getting paid, so does that mean I can't do reaction videos? So this is why mine is mainly, talk this kind of way. But, wait a minute, I think I can put it this way, okay? Because these headphones make you feel like you, okay, it's open. But anyway, there's this university administrator takes own life after reporting bullying. This is a lady. This is a grown lady. Lord Jesus, do y'all see how bad bullying is? Bullying is like death. It has no number. It has no number. Anybody can get bullied. You know, it's not only for kids. It's not only kids bullying kids. This is an adult, and this is at her workplace. Allegedly, it's at her workplace, but that's not the purpose of me doing this video. The purpose of me doing this video is when I first came across this video, which is about a minute or two ago. The first thing came to my head is that her family should get money for this. The family should sue. This is my thoughts, right? The family should sue the university, and once the investigation proved that she did report that this is what was going on, the job, the CEOs, because I worked in a private company. It's got the CEOs, you got people above the CEOs. So if it was told to them and they didn't do nothing, they should compensate for that pain, right? So this is why I decided to do this video. I believe us black folks concentrate on money a lot. You see how my mind, save or unsave, as saving holy as I am, my mind automatically went to money for this young lady's family. Now, my thoughts and the reason my mind went to money is because, to be honest, that is the only compensation that black folks can get. This, we're going into Black history, so I'm kind of like talking about, this kind of go along with that. My thoughts kind of go with the Black History Month, and I'm glad we have a Black History Month. I'm 60 years old, but no, I have not encountered the real hardcore slavery. I have not picked cotton. I have not had a master. I have not been beaten like Frederick Douglass or Harriet Tubman or all them other people that went through slavery and came out rewarded, even though they're deceased, and some of them may have died in slavery, right? But we're still, in a sense, going through slavery in the times that we're living in today. If we're on a job that is white dominatory, and I'm not doing no racist thing, I'm just speaking the truth per se. Hopefully my video don't get flagged, because it's the first time I actually talked about something like this. So therefore, it's hard for a black person to move upward. So society have a tendency of downing black men, right? That's not working, and downing black women that may want to deal with a man that doesn't work, or may or does not get a job, or go out there and have 5 and 6 kids without a job and get on public assistance. And the society is saying, these are my tax paying money. Y'all need to get your black selves up and get up and go get yourselves a job. We tired of taking care of y'all. Yeah, you may be tired of taking care of us, but in all sense of reality, God is in control. So the Bible itself says the poor will have always. Why? You're going to have the poor? Because the poor is what's going to help you get to where you need to go. Because how many get tax write-offs because they do some sort of charity? How many people do charity that is billionaires, do charity, and they get that money back? Now, allegedly, I don't know. I'm just hypothetically speaking from my point of view, But in all, black folks have it hard. And people is quick to say, well, you got it hard because you choose to. Myself, for instance, from the time I was able to work, I worked. I went out there, I got me a job. I'll never forget the first job I got. I can't even remember the name of the job, but I worked for a private company. And it seemed like down my line, I always went private. I always wind up getting private jobs. I never really worked too much for the city, which we'll get to that in a minute. But I did have city jobs. I got my first paycheck, and when I came home, it must have was like $200 for what, a 15-year-old? I must say a 15-year-old because I'm in high school now, so I'm saying 15. I could have been 14 or I could have been 16. But anybody that heard of co-op, not co-op, is it co-op? I think it was co-op. It was some kind of program in the high school where you work 1 week and go to school 1 week. So I got a job. And even as a job that I had issues. Now, yes, I'm going to admit that some of us are considered lazy because we are lazy. Some of us don't work because we don't want to. Some of us can't keep money because we don't know how to budget it. That's me. That was me. That was me. Now that I have Christ in my life, I'm able to overcome those obstacles. I have overcome them obstacles, and put it that way. I'm still working on the money and budgeting, and I'm there now. It took me some years to get there, but I finally allowed God to get me there, so I'm able to budget out my money. Okay, and spend wisely. But back then, very young age, I had this job. I had the money, came home with $200, close to $300, went in the room with my grandmother, sat down, count the money. And you know what? She never asked for none of my money. I'll never forget. That's one memory that's sketch in my head. Excuse me. You know how parents are. You know how grandparents are. You know, they want your money. They all of this. You know, you go out there and work. They taking your money. But not my grandmother. When I came in there with that close to $300 check, I had done cashed it because the company I worked for had their own check cashing place. Whoa, isn't that money? And I went and cashed a check, and I came home. I said, Mommy, I got my first paycheck. I got my first paycheck, Mommy. And she was like, really? Yes. She said, well, how much did you get, Sharon? So I'm sitting there, and I am counting. I'm counting out the money, and I count out $300. And she said, wow, you got a lot of money there, Sharon. What you gonna do with it? And I'm like, I don't know, Mommy. What should I do with it? She said, Sharon, I don't know. That's your money. So you know what I did? I think I must have took like $30 or so and gave the rest to her. And I'll be honest with you, since there wasn't no trauma behind that money, I don't even remember how the money was spent, where the money went. I just know I gave it to her. So I wasn't even worrying about it. I didn't even come back. Apparently, I didn't come back to her, asking for the money, and she telling me that she spent it, and I'm getting mad and angry with her. So I don't know, but I had issues because I would come in late, at that time working, I will get to work like about maybe 2 to 5 minutes late. And my co-worker would tell me when I get there, Sharon, you got to be here on time. The boss is not playing. And that type of boss back in that time, that's in the 70s. Back in that time, the boss was really on you. I mean, that boss anyway. I don't know. That was my first and last job at that age. I didn't get any more jobs until after I got married. I mean, not after I got married. Yeah, after I got married, because I was with my grandmother then. So, I you know, you late, you gotta come. Now the boss wasn't telling me nothing, but the boss told my friend to tell me. That's your friend, tell her. Otherwise she's gonna get a pink slip. Right? So now I recall the job being something to do with papers, right? And they had like file cabinets, but they wasn't file. They was like shelves, and in the shelves was papers. They wasn't big shelves. It was like little shelves, but there was papers in there by colors, and we had to go down the line and collect them papers and put them in a pile with inside a crate, and somebody else in the company or in the office will come and take them and do whatever else with them. But we started that process. So we was the ones that was doing the most of the work, and everybody else was sitting down, receiving our work, right? But they was working. So I was told by my same friend that I was too slow. She told me, she said, you gotta be faster. Come on. And she was trying to show me. But I was so stuck in my own self, rebellious. Here I am, 16, 15 years old, rebellious. And I wound up losing that job. So that was on me. I had another job that I was late. My problem was lateness. I had good jobs, but because I was late, I lost one job because I was late. And I was up for the running to be the, what you call them people? The front desk clerk. It's called clerk now, I think. But dang, what was it called then? It was something else called back then. It wasn't clerk. It wasn't front desk operator. It was something. But I was the face and the eye of the company. I was now once I got there, I did my work. I was very friendly. I was very uppity. I kept how you say? I kept joy in the office. I was always cracking jokes with people. Well, when I say jokes, I had people laughing, and it was that I forgot the name of the company, but it was a company that dealt with mentally ill people. So a lot of them type of people came into the office for their checks, right? And it dealt with housing as well. There was an area in there that helped house people that was mentally ill, mentally challenged. I use that word. So I was getting nice pay, even without being on a roster. And I got that job and jobs to the city I got through a temp agency, which was called Temp Force. I don't know whether anybody had heard of it. Temp Force right at 50 Bond Street, downtown Brooklyn. I was contracted with them, so they would be the one that sent me out on jobs. Okay, forward winding. Now, that 15-year job, a 14-year-old job that I got, after that, I didn't get any more jobs. But I did work through that program. And I got to, so I guess I did get more jobs. I got to work in the Board of Ed. I got to work with the principal. You know, I got different type of jobs. But I didn't take them serious. And I'm going to be honest with you. I had the potential. People would tell me, say, Sharon, you got the potential if you would just apply it. So my whole thing is that black people have a hard time, but sometimes black folks cause problems on themselves because of who they are. So I couldn't keep a job because I wouldn't take working serious. I had went for an interview with Workforce. Anybody heard of Workforce? You know that's through public assistance. And back in the days, you had to work in order to get your money. If you didn't go to them Job Corps? No. If you didn't go to them job searches, and they would give you papers and you had to fill out the papers. Maybe some of y'all rich people don't know how it is for us. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I haven't did no searching on YouTube to see if anybody talk about welfare or HRA. Or it was welfare in my day. Then it went to public assistance. I mean, it always been public assistance, but black folks call it welfare. My husband come from California, Los Angeles, California, and he say out there they call it the county. Then it's HRA. You want to be all sophisticated about it. Oh, I'm going down to HRA. People used to laugh, say HRA. I didn't say that, but, you know, when you go to welfare and you're waiting in the waiting area, you get to hear a whole lot of stories. People be telling stuff. You know, it's like an open book. You hear a whole lot of stuff and find out a whole lot of stuff. So people used to crack jokes. I went and talked to, like, for instance, I went and had asked my daughter where she going. She talking like she going down to HRA. I'm thinking, HRA? What are you going to HRA for? And the person that's talking say, I don't even know what HRA stand for. Where you going? She said, Mommy, that's welfare. She said, well, just say welfare. We don't know them words. What you talking about? You coming all up in here trying to be all sophisticated. It's welfare. So you may not know our life story or understand the situation. So I'm going to break down some of it, because then it will be a long video, and I'm long-winded anyway, but it will be longer than my long-winded. So public assistance is there to help people. Some people do use the system. They do use the system, right? So now, let me just stop right there, and hopefully I'll remember that. Now, I want to just go into this bullying type of thing with this lady, right? And why I went straight to the money. And then I'm going to come back into the welfare thing if I remember, and tell you a little bit like that. I want to get to the point of my video. I want to stay focused. So this young lady, again, the entitlement of the video is University Administrator Takes Own Life After Reporting Bullying. And you can find this video at the Indisputable with Dr. It's R.A. I can't finish out the name. But I'll link that video into this video so y'all can watch what initiated my video. So now, the bullying. The bullying is no crazy, right? If you don't know how to, if you're unable to not allow the bullying to get to you, then you will fall prey to it, and it will affect you. So I'm very sorry to hear. I don't know when she took her life, whether it was this year or whenever it is, but this video apparently must be. I say, y'all let me know when you see a video and they say like 3 days ago. Does that mean that the video was made 3 days ago, or the video was uploaded 3 days ago? Okay, so that's what it says here, 3 days ago. So I'm presuming that this just recently happened with this young lady. Now, the reason why I went straight to money, because just like I said, there's so much against us as color, right? I'm just going to say black, okay? And this ain't a racist thing. This is a fact. You know, it's so much things against us. And no matter how much people may may try to convince our society, the society of color, the black society, that no, we're not racist, no, we don't have nothing against you. We all know that that's not true. Now, I'll give the benefit of doubt to those that is not in that lane. But it's a possibility that there's more in that lane that is not in that lane. So money is the only way to actually, I feel, let me put it that way. Money is the only way to prove to us black folks that we mean something. Now, I want to explain that. I don't want the black society or the people of color to feel like I'm saying that we being black is just into the money. Right? And maybe some are just in the money, but I'm not going to say that. What I mean is that money is the only thing that is offered to us in the place of a good job, in the place of being able to be president. I applaud Obama. In the place of becoming a CEO in a area that does not allow color in it. And I don't mean clothes. So when things happen to us of color that will deal with money, that's the first thing we think about. Well, I'm going to sue. I'm going to get my money. I don't work all this time and you want to take my money. You know, and we're being labeled as crazy. We're being labeled as uncontrollable, because when it come down to money, people want to beat you up and people want to go and kill you and all this stuff. You don't really understand. People that have money don't understand people that don't got no money, or don't get money on a regular basis, or can't get money because of their color. This person can go to the bank and get a loan and their credit score could be 300. Ours is 300. We go try to get credit. They ain't giving us nothing. Not even $500. And then if you do get credit, then you got this interest going on, and your interest is higher than your credit. I mean, I don't know too much. I'm just hypothetically speaking because of the experience I had. The interest is higher than your credit, and by the time everything's calculated by the end of the month, you paying more than what your loan was. Look at the student loans. You get the loan to get the education, but in all reality, you got to pay this money back. You see what I'm saying? Now, I guess because they're expecting people once they finish the college that they in, or finish getting the degree they in, then they're gonna go get a job. But the truth of the matter, half of the people that is of color, when they finish their degree or finish getting their degree and they go in there they go in the workforce trying to get a job, and I'm speaking from my own experience, you can't get it. Because there's always something else they want us of color to have. Well, maybe you can go back to school and you can learn some more and then come back and see. Well, I ain't thinking about coming back and see you. I'm seeing you now, and that's the most you're going to see me. What? You think I ain't got nothing else to do but to come and see you? My mind, my aspect of things is crazy, I know. That's probably why I couldn't keep a job, because I just didn't play with people. When I felt or see that they was treating me wrong, I didn't go to work. I wasn't that person that overlooked. Now, I'm that person now, but in the spiritual aspect. But I wasn't that person that go to the job and I'm seeing people getting treated better than me and my boss treating me bad. I'm going to say something. I had one boss told me that she could fire me because I reprimand her or something like that. There was another word there. Yeah, I think it was reprimand. And she had to talk with me in her office. No, she had to talk with me right there in front of everybody. I can reprimand you. I can fire you. And you know what I said to her? I said, I know you can. Go ahead. Fire me. One less person you got to see. I mean, it probably was wrong, but the thing is that she was getting on my nerves. She just kept she just kept, how can I say it? She just kept, I'm trying to find a nice word for it, but the truth of the matter is she just kept bothering me. I come to work, I was to work on time. I got to work on time. And here's the thing, if it's any job that I like, you ain't got no problem with me being there on time. As soon as something transpire that triggers my spirit that ain't right, I'm going to start being late. And I know it's the job. I know I should be there on time. I know if I'm late, I ain't going to get that much money or my money going to be cut. But it was all about my feelings that count. I didn't just take things lightly because money was involved, because I'm used to being poor. I'm used to being without money. I'm used to not being able to eat due to the fact I ain't got no food for maybe a week or, well, I ain't gonna say a week or so, well, I'll say a week till my next welfare check got deposit. And at that time they was giving you food stamp booklets. So at that time you had to go to the check cashing place, give them your card, and they give you the money. They give you the booklets of food stamps and they give you your cash. So that's probably the reason why I stayed skinny and stuff like that, because I wasn't eating right and etc. But anyway, so the first thing came to my head is your family get that money from them people, because that's the only way we can be compensated. They not gonna go and say, okay, is there anybody in the family that can take her place? They not gonna introduce her job to somebody in the family because of what they did. It's gonna be money that's gonna be offered, and the family is gonna go to money, because now you got the choice to do what you want with your money. You don't have that person that caused her to take her life. They no longer have control over the situation, so you can't bully them and say, well, we ain't giving them nothing. It's gonna go to justice. It's gonna go to the courts, I'm presuming. I'm just hypothetically speaking, because I don't know what they're gonna do. And then once it gets to the courts, it's gonna get in front of the judge, and then depending on who the judge is, they're gonna award them what they deserve to have. So money is always there for us black folks, because that is the only way we can be compensated. They not gonna give us no job. No matter where we work at or how we work, we ain't gonna get no cars to get to work for free. We ain't gonna get no parking lots. We gonna have to take the public transportation and get off and take the PATH train or the Metro North and get to work. Where we see in these movies, people driving to work and they got the fancy cars and they got the fancy parking lot and they got the fancy office. That's a movie. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's people of color that have jobs like that may be in that type of environment and getting that type of money and that type of job and that type of car. But the thing is that not too many of us is down that lane. We just had it hard. We just had it hard. And I'm glad they got a Black History Day. Now, with that being said, we're going to go over to public assistance. So public assistance is there to help us. Help those that are in need. Right? But due to the fact of some people that abuse the system, it's hard for somebody that really need help. I had a job one time. This was back, me and my husband had done separated. So this was back in the 2000s. Maybe it was the 90s. I'm going to say the 90s. Maybe between 91. I'm trying to see if Daniel was born yet. No, I don't think Daniel was born. So I'm going to say it was between 90 89, because Danielle was born 1992. So it was between 89 and 90. Because I met I met her husband. I met her father in 91. Because she was born in 92. So now, I got this job. I was working on this job. All right. It was a very good job. I have a video where I was going to Fifth Avenue. I'm trying to think what I was going there for. But in the video, I was going somewhere, and I was explaining that I worked over on this side. It was 51st Street, Lexington Avenue, between Lexington and Madison. So I worked in that area. That was the upper class of Manhattan, the east side of Manhattan. And that's where I put it as a black person. I put it, that's where the money was. You didn't too much see black folks in the area when I was working there. So when I would walk into stores, people would look at me like I came in there to rob. So I had to dress. That is the reason why when you work certain places as a woman, I guess, and a man of color, I don't know the man's society, but I'm just going to throw him in there, that we have to dress a certain way when we're in that area. Whereas all other cultures can dress however they want to dress because they are going to be deemed rich. People just going to automatically say, oh, they rich. They can walk around with holy sneakers. They can have their hair matted to their head. They even can be stinking. But people will still deem them to having money. That don't make no sense. Why they looking like that? They know all they got to do is go to their daddy because I'm sure they got money because they are of color. Okay? But I'll go back to me, working in that area, I had to wear the right clothing, the right shoes. I had to have my hair a certain way so that when I walk down the street, I wouldn't be deemed as I'm coming to rob you. Now, even though I'm walking around with Louis Vuitton, even though I didn't have Louis Vuitton, but I'm just using that example. I'm walking around with Louis Vuitton, but I'm walking around with $600 shoes and $800 suit and my hair done a certain way, looking real slick, you know. I'm not looking crazy. I got I ain't gonna say, I was gonna say I got my nails done. I'm thinking about where I am today, but back then I wasn't really into the nail thing. But I'm looking presentable. I'm smelling good. I always was one that liked the good smelling perfume. So when I walk into a store that's selling a suit for $1,000 and a handbag for $500, I'm not looked upon as a thief because I'm walking around and let me finish that sentence. I'm walking around with at least $2,000 on, right? Looking like a gem when I ain't got $1 in my pocket. But because I done spent it all on that suit and them bags and them shoes. But that's my point. We always have to try hard, in a sense, to get society to respect us. So when things like this happen, where we could take the bull by the reins, by the horn, and the situation wins for us. We don't have to do too much fighting. The situation will win for us and we'll get some money. And then we could take that money and do what we want with it. Now, what we do with it is a totally different story. None of my business. You see what I'm saying? It's just my point of the video is just bringing out what we go through. And then when we get in public assistance, we are considered, we're labeled again. We're labeled as somebody that's lazy, somebody that don't want to work, and all types of negative things is talked about and said about us due to the fact that we're getting help from the government, which I guess consists of taking taxpayers' money. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is that some people just can't help themselves. People talk about people. I've even heard people talk about them. I had to set them straight. Why that person walking around here begging for money? They can go to the county, or they can go to they would say welfare. That's what the word was. They can go to welfare, and welfare hurt them. Why they walk around here homeless, and they need to go get a job and go get their own apartment. Why you in a shelter? What are you doing in the shelter? You can get out there and work. You ain't got no business in the shelter. Now, once I got into the shelter system, once I even got into the court system, it changed my whole outlook. Not to say that I had negative outlook on people, because I had my own problems with my own life that caused me to go through these different systems. So I couldn't say too much against nobody. And I'm not one to talk about people, especially if I have not experienced nothing. I've always been like that. I never was one to put my mouth on somebody and I don't know nothing. Right? I may put my opinion on somebody and then find out that my opinion is wrong. So I had to work on that. So I don't do that anymore. But when you get into the system and you become a part of that system, then you become addicted to that system. And even with me, even though I wanted to work, but I would not take a job and work more than 6 months, because I experienced that. As I was saying, I got a job. I worked in this private company that deal with courts, and that deal with the courts and deal with the lawyers and deal with the judge. So I worked in a private building that was locked, because we was around a lot of documents that was court documents. So you had to be interviewed for this job, and certain things was done in the interview that would determine whether or not they was going to hire you, as well as your demeanor, as well as your personality. So if you walk into this job for an interview and they felt like you was too much of a hoodlum, per se, they wasn't giving you the job, even though you may have all the knowledge of the things that they were showing you through the interview, but they still wasn't hiring. So they was looking for specific people, and the thing about it, that job consists of a lot of men and women of color. But what will happen, a lot of them will get up in the job, and it was a good paying job. I was getting like $700 every 2 weeks, right? And if I did a lot of overtime, and the hours was long. I had the graveyard shift. I had from 4 to 12, so that's not the graveyard. I had yeah, well, that's what I did. I had the afternoon, 4 to 12. That's what I would work. Yeah, food. And sometimes I would do, they wanted me to do overtime, and I would not leave that job till 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. So it was private, so you had to bring your lunch. They had a microwave in there, a refrigerator in there. You know what I'm saying? So everything was coded. The building was very private. They had security down below, so you could not get into that building or come on any floor unless, oh my bad, unless you knew somebody in the building or on the floor that you was going. Well, you knew somebody in the building. Or I won't say the security guard. Or the security guard knew you. Let me put it that way. So I worked at this job for many years. And then I got into some situation with the courts, with my kids. And in order for me to not lose my kids, I told them that I would quit ACS. I told them that I would quit my job. Upon quitting my job, they still came and took my kids. So I was messed up in the head. I was messed up in the head. I no lie. It was only God that kept me sane because I wanted to go crazy. My daughter, the one that's deceased now, Tandra, she went crazy in there. She started throwing chairs and they had to like take her out. And I was like, get off my child. Don't touch my child. I got this. But Miss Jordan, you need to calm it down. I said, how you expect a little girl to calm down when she's finding out she's being separated from her mother? What kind of foolishness? What kind of people? What kind of cruelty that y'all can do? How can y'all do such a thing? But anyway, that's not the story here. So, I wound up losing the job. I quit the job, not losing the job. I wound up quitting the job. And when I went to public assistance, because we're talking about public assistance, when I went to public assistance, they wouldn't help me. Nope. Because it kept coming up that I was working. See, that was the thing about welfare. They never would get or could seem to get their documents right. They will always mess up people. Back then, they will always mess up people's money. And when they would go to pick up their money from the check cash and play, it's not there. Or they wouldn't get all of it. And then they would talk about, you didn't come in for your recertification. You came in. But they didn't document it. Because everything was by hand then. They didn't have no computers. So it was by hand. So it kept coming up that I was working. And I was telling them I ain't working. I went and got a letter from them letting them know I wasn't working. Took it down to welfare. And the worker that was working with me was just illiterate. Like, would not, and I don't know whether it was done purposely, but the documents would not go in. So it stayed like that for a whole year. And you're probably saying, why should you stop? Because I'm about to go down a lane that I'm trying to think. In my mind to the Lord, should I go down that lane? But all right, we're talking the truth. This is my life as far as working is concerned. So I got to tell the truth, right? So my church and my pastor I'm not going to say was required to help me. But when I went to welfare and asked welfare about help, they was telling me, well, you go to church. So what's going on with your church? Why your church ain't helping you? And I didn't want to come out and say, no, my church don't help me do nothing. I don't want to come out like that. So I just stood silent. So my silence made the lady think that I was trying to play the system. So that caused me not to get help for another 3 months. Because she actually thought I was lying. That they is giving me food. They is helping me with my rent. Because I would go down there to try to get help with the rent because the rent was crazy high. Right? So I didn't get the help. So now once I went and spoke with the individual at the church, explained the situation to them, and they decided to help me. So there was 3 people that was designated to help me. But them 3 people was being told what to do by this other person. So therefore, if I went to them, to any of those 2 people, because the one that was in charge was the 3rd person. So if I went to any of these 2 people before it was time for me to get paid, I couldn't get no extra money. So they was only giving me 23, no, not 23. They was only giving me $21. I'm trying to think. I'm talking about the church. I'm talking about the church. Because I went a whole year with no help from public assistance. I'm being nosy. My door opens, I listen. Because my room is right here by the door. I'm in the front of the house. The living room is in the back of the house. My husband is back there. So, okay. So, they was only giving me, I think it was in the 20s. I didn't get no more than $20. If the most I got from them was $25. So each of them, one week, one person to give me $25. The next week, somebody else to give me $25. The next week, the third person give me $25, right? So that's $75 a week. I was not getting no food stamps. So, you know, my refrigerator was dead empty. I was by myself because they had done took my kids. So the church was taking care of me, but they weren't taking care of me. Because I didn't have the choice to go and shop with them to get what I want. Excuse me. And they was controlling the money. So, let's say, for instance, I didn't wash. Dale? Dale? I'm sorry. I wanted my coffee. Dale! Let me text her. I don't want to get up. Oh, yeah. Can you heat this up right quick? Because I was calling you. Heat this up right quick. Where you headed? Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so let me just wait till I get my. So now,